Hello everyone, and welcome back at today's analysis. As for today, we are going to discuss about Akasha, the titular main antagonist in Queen of the Damned, the first vampire in the Vampire Chronicles universe, who has been imprisoned as a statue for thousands of years and seeks to destroy the humanity and reclaim her rule over the planet. Akasha pretty much is, well, your average example of an ancient evil. And in this episode, we're going to discuss all that we know about her from both the 1988 novel and the 2002 film adaptation to better understand Akasha and how and why she is the Queen of the Damned. And now, let's begin. Much about Akasha's past is largely unknown. All that we know about her is the fact that she was born in the ancient Egypt around the year 4000 BC, and she became a vampire some way at some point, alongside with her lover Enkiel. And so, for thousands of years, she and Enkiel have ruled over the Egypt as tyrannical gods, as she turned and killed many humans and made more and more vampires, to the point that she is considered to be the mother of the vampire kind. But eventually, circa around Jesus Christ's time, the other vampires targeted both of them and drained them in order to gain access to their powers, which resulted in both Akasha and Enkiel remaining trapped into as living statues, and remained trapped like that for roughly 2,000 years, with a vampire known as Marius taking care of them and moving them from place to place throughout the world in order to avoid them from being woke up. And so she has remained dormant and waited for an opportunity to rise again, and she found such an opportunity in 1788 AD, with a young vampire known as Lestat de Lioncourt, who at the time was turned into a vampire immediately at that time, and managed to actually feel Akasha, and Akasha felt him. And as Lestat performed the violin in front of her, she remained impressed, and she allowed him to drain her blood, and give him a portion of her power, as well as creating a psychic link with him. And so, for the next 200 years, they both remained connected to one another, and she kept an eye on Lestat. As of 1988, he became a rock star now in the modern times, known as Lestat the Vampire. And while he himself claimed to everyone that vampires are real and he is one, nobody believed him, and everyone believed that he only does it for show. But soon, Akasha has officially broke free from her imprisonment and even killed Enkiel and drained him of all his power in order to escape. And so she eventually reunited with Lestat, seduced him, and officially tried to make him to join her, and now she seeks to kill all the other vampires that were responsible for her imprisonment. She now seeks to destroy the humanity and to make the vampires into the world's dominant species. And now before we continue, we'll now stop and ask ourselves, is Akasha evil? And the reason why I put this question is because it could appear to a certain degree that she might be some sort of a generic doomsday villain, in the sense that she is pretty much, well, made to be the main bad guy, and pretty much to be made by the story to be the villain that will destroy the world. And especially for the fact that she grown up in the ancient Egypt, and back then the people had different morals from our own. However, Akasha is completely and morally aware of what she's doing, has no remorse whatsoever for her crimes, and she has little to no sympathy whatsoever. She doesn't even care about the other vampires. She only uses them as slaves, and she will have no problem to destroy them to get what she wants. And she has no problem in betraying and murdering Enkiel, despite the fact that he was her longest time lover and spent millennia with her. And in the end, she doesn't care about the stat, only cares about how useful he could be to her. Not to mention the Akasha pretty much doesn't care for anybody but herself and her twisted need for power, and so she's not a generic doomsday villain. And so at the end, the answer to the question is yes, Akasha is evil and she is pretty much pure evil. And in the end, all her plans have failed, and she has been literally drained to death by the other vampires and betrayed by Lestat as well. And so her reign of madness came to an end once and for all. So in the end, who was Akasha? She was nothing more but a simple monster that was born and believed herself to be dominant from the start. A monster that tried to impose her own dominance upon others and murder anybody who stands against her. A monster that will have a big sense of superiority towards both humans and even to her own kind, and who will have no problem to use and destroy in order to gain what she wants. And a monster that could easily be called as one of the most diabolical vampires made in pop culture. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give like and subscribe, and have a nice day.
That's why I kept you safe. Alive.
You?
You thought it was all you?